Good morning, my fellow Americans. Happy Tuesday to you guys, and God bless you. My name is George A. Wilson. I am running on the independent ticket as your president of the United States. Again, good morning. I hope everybody is okay, safe, and sound, and everyone is doing all those things that they need to do to keep safe. And protect not only your neighbors and your neighborhood and your communities, your families, but yourself as well. And practicing social distancing and washing of your hands. So I pray that everybody is doing all those things deemed necessary to stay safe and healthy. A lot of times you don't never know how serious something is until it gets closer to home. I'm quite sure if anybody has been following either my page or my wife's page, a friend of hers, through another friend, put it that way, has passed for coronavirus. And someone I know briefly, or a little of, also has a sister that is sick. Your prayers for those that are sick, that are in the hospital, also coronavirus. This is getting to the point that it's no longer one of those things that if you took it serious one time and then you kind of cancel, taking it serious. Now the numbers are rising again, and cases are building. Thank God. There's today anyway. There's no new reported deaths. That's a good thing. But the whole state is on high alert. I think as of today, I believe from what I read, that the state of California is pushing back on reopening. They're going back to phase one instead of pushing past phase two. So phase one again. So they're closing down everything again, except this time they're a little bit better with restaurants. They're saying no more inside. Still doing pickup and they're still doing deliveries. But if you want to eat, they set up so you can eat outside. It's more safer to eat outside than eat inside. But me and my wife was discussing that, and I shook my head. I was like going, I don't know who would never in mind sit down and eat outside in 100-degree weather. I'm sorry. Or 90-degree weather is still ridiculous to me. I'm not sitting outside eating. That's just me. My preference about it. I'm just not sitting outside in 100-degree weather. If I want that particular food, take that to go. And don't forget the fries. And I'll take, no, never, I don't need the fries. But I'll take whatever that is and take it home. I'm not sitting outside. That's just me personally. I just don't see no logic in it. I just want to also say to those that do have underlying issues, especially with sugar, obesity, hypertension, and asthma, those are the ones that are in high risk of catching coronavirus or being one that passes on coronavirus. So be careful. Wear your mask. It's not a propaganda brand. It's not a propaganda. It could be, but depending on how you perceive it, it's not some propaganda to keep you in your home or to keep some type of slavery thing I've been hearing. They brainwashing you and all that other crazy stuff that they put out there about wearing your mask. So you don't wear them. I'm trying to tell you, for your safety, your family's safety, and those around you, wear your mask. They're getting very serious with this, and I know one of the cities from me, Porterville, they're talking about they're implementing citations and For people that's not wearing their mask, they will give you a ticket if they catch you in public somewhere without a mask. I don't think it's the whole majority population got to wear it all the time, but when you go into when you go into buildings or going into public places like well, those restaurants and stuff are going to closing down now. So, but wherever you go, it's grocery stores and stuff. If you don't have your mask, they will hit you with a citation. I don't know how much those citations are, and I ain't about trying to find out. So government and federal buildings as well, like post office and stuff like that, wear your mask. Always keep one on you, just in case. If you start seeing a bunch of people outside walking around with masks on, you might just want to put yours on just for precautionary safety, just so you don't be stereotyped or discriminated upon because you don't have one on. Or if someone calls, and they can, say, hey, there's a guy that I see walking down the street, or a couple or whoever walking down the street, and they're not wearing their mask. And then you don't know who called the cops. Also, you see a cop pull up and ask you to come over here, or they'll say, did you know that you're supposed to wear a mask? And then you're like, well, I thought that's when you go to stores, whatever. It's a long story short, but to avoid this kind of a problem, just wear the mask. It's just simple. Just wear the mask. So hope everybody is doing that. Public service announcement from me to you, just to make sure you understand that. It's not just California, it's pretty much all 50 states of the union. Just make sure you're wearing your mask. I do. I think you should also do the same. Be safe. We want to bring these numbers down and stay out of the hospital. Wear the mask. I believe they should be doing a whole lot more testing than they're doing. I don't know why they're not doing as many tests. We'll leave it to the president, which thinks testing is, more a nuisance than anything. Well, then we all be dead if we keep listening to him. So, but anyway, yeah, I don't know where they having testings are, where there are testing sites. You need to call in your neighborhood, in your state, and find out where the testing sites are, and just go get tested. It's a few-minute process. Of course, there's a drive-up one. You may be in line for about an hour or so. Be prepared for that. Unless your local health department, your local outpatient department, hospital are doing testing, where you don't have to be in line for hours and hours and hours and hours trying to be tested. So, we want everybody to be safe, but I think that's a very good idea to find out where you can be tested, and get tested, and just be safe about it. I believe that's going to come down to that anyway. So, best you take a jump at it before you have to. You have no choice in the matter. So again, and it's making it hard to find testing place now and test to be exact. Since the president created that monster by saying, the more testing you do, the more cases you find. Of course, you idiot. Yeah, that's what the whole idea of to have the testing for, right? To find cases, to find people that have it and don't realize they have it, to quarantine them. Smarty. But anyway, and I guess factoring of testing, I don't know, was it ordered or they just decided to slow down sending tests to the United States, so we don't have very many around. Because it would be, and again, the numbers that he's claiming that's tested every day, I don't believe it. So, yeah. Okay, I hear your numbers, but I don't believe it. But anyway, I believe it's a whole lot less that he's saying, but anyway, we'll just move on from that. Again, I hope everybody's doing wonderfully. It's just, I've been, Oh, that's you guys. Yeah, I'm glad you guys have a good week. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I totally forgot about that. Sorry, guys. Um, with about 117 days out from election, and supposedly the convention is next month, and all that's pushing toward that way, and it's coming crunch time, and I'm sitting here, and I'm thinking, even the candidates. I mean, even President Trump, he would never say it, but even him, President Trump and Joe Biden, Vice President Joe Biden, sorry, respect him, just for the title alone. And former Vice President Joe Biden was running. I think this coronavirus thing it's cramped, has created a lot of confusion, but also a lot of strain on all the candidates that are running, because you can't hold town halls unless you're rich and famous like Donald Trump or maybe Joe Biden. If you don't have that kind of money, their money, anybody else is running is going to have a hard time trying to host a town hall if you can ever get a venue big enough to do so. And if the state or the city or the municipality you're trying to hold it in or have places open and available for this type of gathering, and if they are willing to allow a certain amount of people come in social distancing wise, then you become fortunate and unfortunate at the same time. Fortunate that you could probably hold it, but unfortunate because the numbers will not be as large as you would get if there was no COVID virus. So it's, for me, and I got to be honest with you there, I tried every avenue I could think of, and they're even cracking down to the part of me even putting up posters and flyers, and I'm finding it very interesting. I find it very frustrating for me because one, other people could put them up, and I think it has a lot to do with politics. They just don't want anybody, if you're running for some type of federal office, which would be what I'm doing, they feel it's not in a way, not in the interest of the public to post signs or to put up flyers in places. And so that's frustrating for me. In certain venues I've checked into, and I've had this real issue that folks are just, I don't get it. But I get it because of the coronavirus. But at the same time, I just don't get it. I can't get into a place. But so now it's coming down to me, cut a long story short, it's going to have to come down for word of mouth, 1, 2, viral on my videos to go viral on social media and all the social medias, and I am on all the social medias, by the way. Especially YouTube. All is going to come down to the media itself and airtime, commercial time, television, and all that. For commercials, that's another whole venue on its own, because that would cause sponsorship. Come to find out, it's not exactly as how much you would pay per minute or for 30-second spot per se. And some outlets you do pay for spots. Then other outlets are about your sponsor, who's sponsoring you. Like for certain venues, Nike is a sponsor, or Pepsi Cola is a sponsor, Coca-Cola is a sponsor. So they would say like, okay, well, who's sponsoring you? And you can say, well, I could get a shoe store or something in the neighborhood to sponsor me. And they say, okay, we'll sponsor you. And they're like going, okay, how much are they donating to your campaign fund to sponsor you? And so that becomes an issue because they don't mind sponsoring you, but it ain't going to cost anything. If it starts cost, it's going to cost them money to sponsor you, and it usually does, you know, unless it's just something minor. It's just somebody said, I'm sponsoring you in an ad, in the paper or something like that. That's nothing. They don't have to, you don't have to, and it's not about money so much. But when you doing what I'm doing, it's going to cost money. And sponsorship don't come easy. It's like word of mouth and somebody knowing somebody. And that knew you. So that's what it's going to come down to. Now, I don't know if any of you are interested in any of this. And I'm not negative about this. I'm trying definitely not to be negative whatsoever about this. I'm being solemn, if you will, if that's a very good word for it, if that's a good word to put it. I'm being square and being eye to eye, somewhat to speak, and just being honest. That's what it's going to come down for me. Now, and I'm not saying, still got 100-something days out, and I'm not saying anything can change at any time, but if I'm expecting crowds, and I may could be expecting crowds, but I don't have the venue for it, then where there's enough space for everybody to social distance themselves to a degree, then that's going to be a problem for me, someone that most people don't know anything about, or at least they know of, but not enough to make a decision if they want to help me out in that capacity. And, I've had some say, okay, well, if I'd known about you a little earlier on, maybe we could have probably done a little something. And I have two ways of doing this. And one is about $4,500. And I could gain a sponsor that route. And the other's a little over $1,200. And, but that's just a full page ad, or $2,500, full page, half a page ad, for about $1,200. And it runs, I think, 3 days. And it's only in one section of paper, but everybody, and mostly in the general area, picks up that newspaper, give or take. And that's only in the state of California. And it's only in the Valley, per se. 3 days is okay. To start. But beyond that, unless I want to continue to run it, it does become more expensive. And everybody knows, things can get a little expensive. This is where a sponsor shows up. Or fundraising. So, I forgot to add that. So, fundraising would be helpful. Donations, gifts, or love offerings. All these things, from me, would have to come in fruition, and I do mean very soon, to make any difference whatsoever. Or else, it's not looking very good for me. I'm not saying I give up, it just doesn't look good. Just being honest. And I know America is in a place that America needs to heal. And And I know America needs to heal, and America needs God, and America needs love. And we need to get back our respect, our confidence, and our pride in who we are. But like I say oftentimes, and I say it again, it's more than one person. It's not about one person. It's about all of us. If one person make it, we all make it. It's not if I make it, I make it. If I make it, you make it. If I succeed, we all succeed. So I'm asking for your help. Any donation, well, usually I would say normally any donation would do, but in this case, your 10s, your 20s, your 50s, your 100s will be totally appreciated. I do have PayPal set up for those that are willing to donate. Again, like I said, for right now, for most people, $4,500 is nothing. For me, there's nothing and it is something. It's nothing because that's a drop in a bucket compared to what I've spent so far. It's something when your funds are depleted and you're just, hopeful. You're trying to do all you can and try to rally the people and rally folks to get behind you and get folks to support you, to get folks to believe in you. Now, I can ramble on all night long. I know people are, at this point, either getting up in certain places around the world or they're just getting into bed like normally I would be. Or some of you are still asleep or asleep. So a lot of people probably wouldn't pick this up until tomorrow or later today, shall I say. And I believe in, the old saying, you have not because you ask not. A closed mouth don't get your stomach fed. If you don't have anything, you ask somebody. Sometimes you got to kill that pride to find out, I'm not asking. Well, then you stay hungry. I'm asking. Not because I'm hungry. I'm asking because I'm in need. I love this country like anybody else, probably better than most people. Okay? I love the American flag and I love people. Okay? It's just who I am. I love God more than anything in this world. And then, of course, my family, the church, and then the American people. It's just not just country I love. I love everybody around the world. I don't know you, but I still love you. And I think enough is enough. We've suffered long enough with this COVID virus. It needs to stop. It needs to stop before it continues to kill people. And I'm afraid if this thing continues, I'm going to start hearing more and more and more of this COVID virus getting closer to home. And I don't want it to attack any of my family members. Or me. But with this thing out there, it's dangerous. And I don't want it to attack you all. So if I always start this every time I come on, that I pray that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do to protect themselves. You need a leader that's saying it's time to stop the madness and nip this whole thing in the bud. We know we got pretty much what's going on. It's the process of actually doing something about it. Simple. Now, I think my last video on Friday, because I said I was going to miss the weekend, and I did. I think it's Friday. I said to you all, and I'm going to leave it up to you. I gave you 3 reasons why to vote for me. And for those of you that sent me your support and said that you're going to definitely vote for me, I certainly appreciate you. And I will not forget you. Trust me. I will not forget you. I need people that are going to work with me. Come together and say, okay, not only will I vote for you, but I'm going to work with you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to, whatever. I'm going to do whatever it is you need. How do we get up? Let's brainstorm. We need to brainstorm like last night. We need to start brainstorming. We need to figure something out. We need to do it now. Like it just starts clicking around. And then, because I know some of you people out here know other people that are in position of power or prestige, a little bit of money. And some of you do know these kind of people. And you have very good rapport with these people. Okay? They probably helped you in number of incidents. Okay? I need those kind of people to try to help me out. It's not today in time, and it's sad to say this, it's not what you know, it's who you know that gets you, move you along. I won't compromise, guys. I'm sorry. I will not compromise. I won't sell out. I won't take dirty money to try to boost myself. I won't sleep my way to the top. Okay? And I definitely won't lie my way there. Sometimes the struggle is real. And someone said to me someone said something years ago, said to me, anything worth having is worth fighting for. And when I look around, I think about the youth of today, and I think about those that's behind me, young people that have dreams that may not even see those dreams, or may not have a world left to get to that point where they can reach those dreams. Leave it in Donald Trump's hand? They won't be. I guarantee it. Leave it in Joe Biden's hands? It won't be. I can also guarantee it. But leave it in the hands that it need to be in, which is God's hand through me. There will be a world for your children and your children's children if the world lasts long enough to reach out to their full potential to be who they are, who they want. God has chosen them to be, who they want to be. With bright, intelligent minds and scholars and education for our children to grow, to have a place they call their own. That they themselves one day can stand up as adults, are old enough to stand up and say, I am proud to be an American. Where they come up and say, I know what real struggle is. Because that's how we emerge, through struggle, through chaos, through wars. That's how we emerge to be the number one superpower in the world. Now we're the laughing stock of the world. Even though the world's laughing at us, they're still expecting us to do something to save not only the United States, but the world at large. And we're not going to get that from Donald Trump. I'm sorry. And Joe Biden is not taking nothing from the man, but he is not physically nor mentally capable of being able to stay in office long enough to start navigating this thing. It's like the minute he reached to try to change something else, like, put your hand down. Remember who's boss. But they don't have that pull on me. And they never will. Because I only got one boss. Well, my wife thinks she's a boss, but I don't think all men can say that, right? But God is the only boss. Jesus Christ himself. And man, don't tell me how and what I should do with ordained, anointed leadership. God does. few things and I'm done because it's late. I won't drag on. Someone asked me about religion and Constitution. I didn't respond back through text, but I'm hoping that individual catches me here. On my videos, the person usually catches me. And I'm going to answer that pretty quickly. There's never been and never will be, unless Donald Trump get to rewrite or get the Congress to rewrite the Constitution, which he said he's going to do in the second term if he gets reelected. But beyond that, there's never been state separation, or what is it, church and state, separation of church and state. That's not in the Constitution. Never was written in the Constitution. Never was ever in the Constitution. And it never will be. As long as, in my administration anyway. After my reign of administration, I don't know what's going to show up. I won't be here to worry about it. Yeah. It was a letter written from Thomas Jefferson to the Baptist Church that the state would not interfere with their rights to freedom of religion. In other words, it would not get involved in their rights to worship. That's what that letter was about. It wasn't no separation of church and state. It had nothing to do with political means whatsoever. It was Thomas Jefferson letting the Baptist Church know that it wasn't going to interfere with one of the alienated rights, freedom of religion. So where people get this church, separation of church and state and all this other foolishness, I have no idea. Started so long ago, and it's just so old. And today they're like everything else they're trying to resurrect from the dead, like racism, technically, and other things. They continue playing on the old same drum. Sooner or later, you're going to have to get a brand new drum because you done beat it after that. And the sound don't come out the way it used to. But it's brand new. That isn't it. Okay? And there's no law prohibiting prayer. Well, okay, I'll call that. There are some laws which shouldn't be on the books, which won't be on the books very long. Once I get in there, we're going to change that around. But there's nothing that prohibits a righteous man or a pastor, born-again believer, from being in position of power in the White House, even though it's evil. There's so much evil and corruption in the White House or at the White House and around Washington in itself. Doesn't mean that the pastor or the man of God who is running for the office is corrupted or can be corrupted. Now, I know any people that started off well, and then when they got to Washington, all hell broke loose, and they turned and flipped them in their first term. By the time they became second-term House members or second-term senators, they've been flipped. And so they've fallen right along with the crowd and doing exactly what they're told to do. And they're not doing anything for their own states, communities. Okay, but beyond that. But corruption is what it is. And it's evil everywhere, just not in Washington. Some people kind of they zero in on Washington, especially when you start talking about Christians. Real Christians now, not somebody called themselves Christian. Real born-again believers that have been filled with God's Holy Spirit and moving according to the will of God. To to govern a nation under God. Everybody pinpoints and targets what's around Washington, what's in Washington that's evil. That they start turning around looking at the person, and saying, well, you must be evil, or you're going to be evil, or whatever. And they kind of close they're like, oh no. It's like, I'm doing it for your own good. I'm not going to vote for you because I don't want you corrupted. I don't want you evil. You seem like a good guy. You seem like a very nice guy, a humble guy. You seem like a real man of God. Why don't you just stay and do what God called you to do, what you do best, preach, or pastor your church, or do whatever you do on social media. We love you, but to see you in Washington, I don't want to see you turn like everybody else there. So therefore, I'm just not going to vote for you, or I'm just going to kind of get this message about you. So don't mean to harm you. I'm just trying to save you. Don't try to save me. Only God can save me. If you don't want to vote for me, don't use the evils of D.C. to keep from voting for me. Just don't. If you want to help me, help me. Don't say I'm not going to help you, because if I don't help you, you can't get in. God will find another way. Don't have to use you. And I'm not being cynical. I'm just being real. I'm just keeping it real. I'm keeping it honest. It's just the way that is. So I answered that question per se. Anyway, I realize the evils. I know what's up there. I know what's there. And I know and I know about the spirits, that evil spirits that are in the wasted blood coming from Capitol Hill. I know all about that. Yes, it's very evil. Don't mean I'm going to be persuaded, because it is. Maybe that's what God wants to do, to shine light in a very dark place. That someone's been screaming for the light for many, many years, decades, for God to send somebody that they know that it was God that sent them to help bring them out of a very dark hole. So I simply believe that. I was asked about my stance on abortion, what I felt about it. And I really wasn't going to address that right away, because most people get, especially women, with the feminist movement, and one of the things that they say, it's my body, I have a right to do what I want to do with my body. And that is absolutely correct. I wouldn't argue with you there. But when it comes to a life, you don't have a right. Even though if it's inside of you, you don't have a right to destroy a life, to terminate or end a pregnancy because it's unwanted. And I'm going to fight against Planned Parenthood to end that madness. End their funding if they don't stop, and run them out of business. Now, the ones that by the rules and the new changes could remain open, and they could direct women that are pregnant and that either don't want to go to full term, or teach them to go to full term, unless it's a risk. That's a big difference if it becomes a health risk. That's a whole other decision. A lot of prayer has to be considered with that, but that's totally something different. We're not talking about something that's riskful. We're talking about something that somebody decided to do because it was a mistake, or I decided to change my mind. It's not fair. It's not right to that child. And no one has a right to take a life. So they could remain their funding if they train women to go the full term, and then there's also the adoption process, where immediately as soon as the baby's born, it's taken and given to someone else. The mother never sees the baby. This way, it won't be a battle. But the child lives, and so does the mother, and hopefully the mother learns a very valuable 9-month lesson. If you don't want children, you don't do certain things to have them. Simple. And I know that, it's a lot more I can go on to that subject, but that's just my stance with it. I'm not for abortion, and this nation has, and still is, killing babies every day, and it's got to come to an end. It's got to stop. It's not fair. It's not right. You know how many American citizens that have been murdered by abortions alone? Something to think about. Someone asked me also about what's my stance on immigration. DACA remains in place. Those young people didn't ask to come here. They were babies or children the time they were left illegally in the United States. But they have grown up. They have gone to school. They obviously have been placed in other homes, but they've grown up. They've been gone to school. Some got degrees and single degrees, and some got double degrees, and they are working. They contribute to this economy. They work hard every day. They don't have any criminal record whatsoever. They applied for citizenship. Some have gotten it, and some are still waiting for that. They are not going to have to worry about immigration, ICE, or the Homeland Security will not deport not one. Those that are coming in this country legally, seeking asylum, and they do it legally in the right way, go through all the checks and balances, and they're here, they are allowed into the United States, again, where it legally comes up, they will not have to fear deportation. Those that are in other countries, that are married to U.S. citizens, and they're coming to reunite, to stay with their spouses in the United States from other countries, as long as they have the right visas and the passports to come into the country, they're not affected by any viruses, coronaviruses, as long as they pass the quarantine and they are tested, they pass the quarantine, they test negative, they will be allowed into the United States on that 10-year visa, and in that length of time, apply for U.S. status as a U.S. citizen. They do not, in that period of time, have to worry about deportation. They will not be deported. Now, for those that are allowed in here legally and they create a situation where it becomes domestic or otherwise, terrorist act or a act of murder or violence, they will be deported right back to where they came from. Not back to the Mexican border, but back to the country they were fleeing from the beginning. They will be dropped off to their government. And what their government do, that's on them. It's a one-time deal. You come into this country, you know the rules, you will learn English. If you don't know it, you will have to learn English. You will have interpreters telling you exactly what those rules are, and those things have to be followed by the letter to stay in this country. Also, you will be tested as well to make sure you didn't bring any strange things over into the United States. And that's the small of it for immigration. We do need stronger immigration policies, immigration reform, but those are things later we deal with later, but that's my stance on immigration. Someone said, what's my stance on guns? Under the Constitution, you have a right to them as long as you're not forming a militia or enact a war against local and federal government. As long as you're not establishing some type of war, then you are legally, and it's for home protection. Now, this concealment thing, I have a problem with it. I think the wrong people, guns are in the wrong hand. The hands of the wrong people are dangerous, especially with those that are itching to use them for some reason. They want a reason to use them, and you can't track every gun that's on the streets. I wish there was some way of doing that, but now with everybody getting this new concealed weapon thing, it is registered. The meaning your weapon has to be registered by your state. They do give you a permit to have it, but they also have that you can't legally carry it until it's been registered with your state and you've been checked out to make sure you don't have any felonies somewhere else. Or you're not some mass crazy person. It's almost like getting a gun license. People have permits to have weapons of their own, as long as you show that you have a license or a permit. Well, a permit to have the weapon is registered. But we talk about different gun laws and to prohibit gun violence. So permits will become somewhat obsolete in a period of time that you have to apply for a license. Like a driver's license. You have to apply for a license to have that weapon in your home. And if authorities have a reason to knock on your door and ask you if you have a weapon at home, then you are to present them with the right license showing that these are what's in your home. And so they know you have one in there. They shouldn't have to knock on your door, but it's come to time they will knock on the door and ask you if you got a weapon. And if it's not registered or it's not licensed for you to have it, they can simply ask you to bring it to them to the door, or they can literally confiscate them. Depending on what kind of laws are out there, it could be stiff enough to cost you a fine or confinement. It just depends on the rules and regulations at that time. But we got to crack down on gun violence in the street. We got to crack down on gun trafficking, illegal gun sales, and gun shows, gun publications. Too many people are ordering guns now, parts to build guns. And we need to take the gun laws out of the hand of the NRAs and put it in the hands of the people that actually will enforce those laws. And we need to lean on the NRA harder than we ever leaned on them, because they're the ones that are one of the operating machines in Washington, D.C., with the lobbyists, gun lobbyists. So that's going to be a big one to try to tackle. Don't say it can't be done. It can be. But again, those are number one. And plus, with the illegal recycling the guns back into the community, you take them away, you get them out the community, it's supposed to be destroyed, you kind of find out they haven't been destroyed, and someone's on the inside recycling the guns back out in the streets for profit. So a gun that killed somebody 5 years ago is back on the street, it pops up again in another crime scene that kills somebody else fresh, and come to find out that gun had killed 5 other people prior. That was due for destruction, but it got wound up back out in the street. Again, these are all that's happening today. It's nothing I'm not telling anybody that don't even know, that don't know. And so that's my thing with guns. I don't believe it should. I don't believe there should, I think that whole thing with the concealed gun thing should be banned. It should be out of operation. Stop putting it on the website. Stop putting it on social media. Those who have those little things saying that you have papers to carry or permits will be revoked. You're going to need to be registered with your local police department, and you need to take it home and lock it up, and not carry it in your car on the street, because if one gets caught on you, you will get charged with a felony by having a firearm in public square, public places, especially if it's concealed. Then that's a whole nother charge. So I would advise people very seriously to reconsider this concealed gun thing. It's another ploy to get you locked up, get you in trouble, big trouble, eventually. And then you got to remember, this also not giving you the right to have it, but then what about the next guy that had no business having the gun at all, and you come face to face with that guy, and he just happened to be a second quicker than you? Who dies, him or you? You got to think about those crazy. I know people's like, why do you think about things like that? Because the possibilities of things going south with guns are endless. Somebody said something to me about, I think it was almost thought it was kind of foolish to even say. I won't even put that out here, but I was like, I always said, don't say everything that's crossed your mind. So, and don't put it out so much on social media. So I'm going to keep that in mind, but I won't say what I thought. But somebody mentioned something that was so, and I just said, I pray we don't come down to that. Something I was watching a show, a person of interest, a guy named Finch, and when Reese was his right-hand man, he was trying to give Finch a gun, teaching him how to use it. He said, the day that I gotta pick up a gun, then we are all indeed lost. Making it saying that the world has come to a point to no return if I ever have to pick up a gun to use it. That I feel I have to start protecting myself with a weapon. It's subliminal compared to what he was saying on the serious. It's what it is now. I put up my guns a long time ago. I don't own one. I pray that I never have to go and feel that I need to go buy one and have it registered to own one. I pray I never have to ever have to own another firearm. That's not my choice to. Now, as to the next man that wants to own a gun, that's up to him. I don't knock him because he has a firearm in his house. If he feels threatened, that he feels that he has to have one in there, especially if you got children, I certainly understand that, of course. It's just my opinion. For me, and I can't say nothing for everybody else. I'm just talking about me. So hopefully out there watching this video say, hey, he don't have a gun, we can break in his house. It might not be very advisable on your part. But anyway, that's my stand on gun. You get rid of the guns, you slow down the violence. You get the guns out of these inner cities in the hands of the wrong people, especially gangs. And you clean up those inner cities, and you get to respect programs in the right places in these inner cities, rebuild these inner cities, get the respect for the neighborhood and your police again, where they start respecting one another and feel comfortable and be able to trust law enforcement again. You can pretty much clean up a neighborhood. Now, I'm not saying the opposing force won't try something, but they'll get the idea. We don't want our welcome in this area, and we need to uproot our business and get out of here before we all get slapped with a whole lot of federal time. But anyways, And we got so many other issues that are out there that out of the three I mentioned, the president not looking at any of them. But I am. Unemployment, shall I say, in this case, is all-time high. Getting these folks back to work is the second thing right after stopping this coronavirus and making sure that the United States is safe and the numbers start dropping. We're still going to be a new norm. We're not going back to the old, so there's still going to be a new norm, but we will safeguard our country and nation and be able to get people back to their jobs if they choose to take them back, or if they choose to get other employment, gainful employment, that's up to them, but back in the working force and feeling good and safe about the job that they go back to or they choose. It's getting America back on their feet again. Once we get straight with this coronavirus, then we can get the kids, the children, back into school, the young people back into colleges, and move this country forward. Get this country back started again. Get everybody fired up about life again. And saying, I welcome the new norm and I'm going to do what I can to look out for not only myself but someone else, that we don't ever run into this problem ever again. And then we can move on in the other areas and issues that we face on a daily basis. And this has nothing to do with cyber hacking, cyber attack, security, all those things that matter that keep us safe. It has nothing to do with any of that. That's also something else the president should be paying attention to. Now, maybe he is. I'm not saying he isn't. But right now, he's more concerned about his re-election than anything's out. But about 116 days out, that's all that man is really thinking about. He's not thinking about you, me, and anybody else, but his re-election. So, what are you going to do? What do you plan on doing? Because believe it or not, the only way to get two sides working together, you put a middle guy in the middle that doesn't cater to either side. And that's an independent president, which is nonpartisan, meaning he don't cater to the Republicans and he don't cater to the Democrats. Y'all work together or you don't work at all. And if you can't work with him and he can't work with you, then you two need to find you new jobs somewhere else outside of government, and we'll get two other people up until we weed out all the problems. Y'all two want to go home too? Because it doesn't matter to me. And we'll just keep moving everybody up in line. It's supposed to be moved up. And then we'll start we fill the other seats with other people, and we would start hiring people where they belong until we root out the problems. Somebody somewhere going to get tired of being sent home and saying, okay, why don't we stop and play ball with this president? So apparently, we're not strong-arming him. So we need to start working together. Or we all going to lose our jobs. That might be a safe bet. That's how we become united. Working together. I don't care the differences. Iron sharpens iron. You want to bump heads? Bump heads. But iron sharpens iron. You get nothing till you show me that you can get along and work together and come to some real concise consensus. That evidently showed me that you've both been working diligently together. That's how we get things done. Or else, you got to go because I'm not going anywhere. I know I make jokes, but I make it seem lighter than it really is. But I have to, because some people are really wound up, and you got to be light about it, or else they just be like, But the real deal. Again, um, that's just some of the things I want to talk about. I mean, I've talked about it. I want to continue to talk about trying to do straight to move forward, move this America forward. We like we come to a screeching halt. And anything that stops too long, and then we didn't stop at a stop sign, we stopped in the intersection. And there's oncoming traffic. And if we don't get out the way soon, we're going to be hit, T-bone, side bone, head on. And we got to get out of the intersection. We're like a stalled car trying to get it to move and it won't move. And it seems like nobody wants to help. You get to the side of the road so you can get me out of harm's way. And we can't seem to get that car into neutral so it'll be easier to push. It's like the car is in park and you're trying to move the car when it's in park. Kind of hard to do, but you can't get it into neutral. Well, you can get it in reverse, but that might be not a very good idea to push a car backwards when you need to push it forward to get it out the way. That's where America is right now. We're in the middle of the intersection. And the light's about to change, and we're going to get caught right in the middle. And it's not going to look good for us at all. In November, after November the 3rd, the light's going to change. And let's pray that America has moving out of the intersection. Steer clear of the oncoming traffic that will be coming. That means when they change the president, whoever that president is, preferably will be me, but somebody said you're being a little too presumptuous. No, you just got to have faith and believe in people that they'll come around and they'll see the difference and they'll know the difference. You know, people say, do you believe in miracles? Yes. I'm not only looking for a miracle, I'm looking for a supernatural miracle to happen. Something that even you guys couldn't do. It takes a God to do. And I love you guys so much, even if I get there without your help, I'm still going to solicit your help and say, I want you to be part of this with me. And I still ask for you to come along. Even you saying, well, I didn't even vote for this cat. I could have, but I didn't. And he still loves me enough or cared enough about me and want me to be part of something greater than anything I could ever imagine that I could ever be a part of. Wow. This man is not about himself. He is about the American people. Because he cares enough about me saying, come on, I need your help. I want your ideas. I need your creativities. I know you didn't vote for me, but come on anyway. Because we're all American citizens. No matter what side of the fence you're on, Republicans, Democrat, or Independent. Libertarians, Green Party, we're all Americans. All Americans. I can use the ideas. It doesn't even matter. I can use the help. I can use the friendship. And we all need to feel the warmth of love, a sense of belonging. That's who I am. That's what I'm about. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. I need your help, and I keep telling you that. I do need your help. Because I care so much about the American people. And in this United States. I love the United States. Not the corporation per se, but okay. Not those behind the scenes. And I don't mean like I hate them or nothing like that. I do love those people, but even though they don't love nobody but themselves and money, I do love those people. I don't like what they're doing. I might not even like their character. I don't even know. I don't know them. But if you kill innocent children, you cause presidents to be assassinated, you cause all kind of havoc behind the scenes, then tell them about your character that I don't particularly care about. But as a person, as a human being, as someone that God created in his own likeness and image, you gotta love everybody, even your enemies. Because the Bible says, love your enemies. The Bible says, when a man's ways pleases God, your enemies will be at peace with you. Paraphrase. So, none of y'all are my enemies. I don't consider any of you my enemies. I hope they're not to make any. I probably will. You know, someone asked me what I thought about LGBTQ, or LGBTQGQ. I don't know how those letters go. And a new thing they got it somewhere in Springfield, Massachusetts, or somewhere where poor people could be married together, and I forgot the name of it. That's sickening to me, but. And she kind of asked me what my take on that is, and I could have very well said something, but I knew where they were going with it, and they were aiming to see to catch me into something, and probably use scripture to come at me with, and being wise and have a lot of wisdom, I knew where that was going, and so my take on that is, I see people. Honestly, people that you can't help but love. However, their practices are their practices. Their beliefs are what they believe in. Their pride is what they have in their march, or their protest is what they protest. Their organization is what their organization is. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. Am I for them? Absolutely not. But I won't judge them because I'm not their judge. Neither their jury or their executioner. I leave all that to God. It has nothing to do with me. I don't have any prejudice toward them. I don't look at, I used to. I ain't gonna lie to you. I used to look at them funny. Twitch, do a little twitch every so often, like, really? I do stand firm on what I believe and what God sees it as. And I believe any man or any woman that wants to change, I believe there is a God, and that believe in He's a life-changing God, can change. That's totally up to them as well. And I don't have to be somebody out there with Scripture or the Bible. But when it comes down to other things, well, that's a whole nother thing, another set of matter. Different matter, and I'll wait to that particular time in which to address that on a later date, a later time. Now isn't the time to do so. But that's what I see when I see people. They're just people. And people live the way they choose to live, and nobody has the right to tell anyone how they should live. They're governed by their own, lifestyle, I guess. As long as they don't break the laws, You don't break the laws. You don't have no problems. You break laws, don't matter what you are, who you are, what ethnicity, what your gender is. It doesn't matter. You break laws, you go to jail. You pay fines and or both, or just go to jail. That's just simple. End the conversation. As long as you don't break laws, well, you have a right like anybody else in this Constitution, in America. Well, not Constitution, America. I heard some things about that too, but again, like I said, another time, another place. It may be brought up and discussed, but other than that, as far as I'll go with it. And that's what I kind of basically conveyed to the person that asked me that question, because I knew where they were trying to go with it, and I wasn't about to go there. And I didn't go there now either. So, and trust me, it's not because of votes. No. That's what my opponents are doing. No. But anyway, if you got confidence in me, you believe in me, and you trust me, then vote for me. Without those three things, then your votes are being wasted. Think about that when you get ready to go to that voting poll. If you don't have confidence, belief, and trust in the person you're about to cast that vote for, or if you're in doubt in any way in any one of those three areas about that individual that you're about to cast that vote for, I would advise you to think again before you do it. Don't do it if you don't have the confidence to believe that that man, have confidence that he will do exactly what he's supposed to do as your president or commander-in-chief of the armed forces. That he would not put us, the United States, and the American people around the world as well in the United States in harm's way or danger because of callousness, because namesake or whatever the situation is. That he would think prudently with a lot of wisdom and a lot of strong advice and leadership, that he'd understand thoroughly what he's about to do, the consequences on that action, and to be concerned of lives lost if that comes down to that. Let's hope the man you put in the office have those things about him, or else you may have a monster behind the red button that we don't never want to see. We already got enough trouble with Iran, and they're just waiting for a moment, and we don't know when they're going to strike. Obviously, Donald Trump's not paying attention to that either, because he done already bombed them for whatever reason, another, because they weren't doing whatever he wanted them to do, and that's his way, being a bully. And people do strike back at bullies, and it's just not Donald Trump they're aiming for. They come at him, it's the whole United States in trouble. So yeah, we have a problem. Now, the next president, if it's not him, gonna have to smooth that thing off with Iran somehow. Hey, look, there's a new regime. I ain't him. I ain't your problem. I don't want to become your problem. And I hope you don't, want me to become your problem. I know what happened. It can't be changed. I'm not trying to be underhanded or going behind some shady deal to get back in good graces. I'm just saying, hey, we need to come to some consensus here, and let's see if we kind of be civil with one another, because nobody wants to start a world war. Because messing with Iran would involve Russia. And not that we're afraid of Russia or Iran. We just don't want that kind of problem. And Syria was part of our allied, but apparently since we turn our backs on them and allow the Russians to go in and kick their hiney parts, well, then part of Syrian is part kind of partial to Russia. We still have a problem. Like I said, one little mistake and you can cause a cluster of problems. So, Iran is not our problem yet, but they will be if something isn't done. See, these are things that maybe the intelligence community is dealing with, keeping at bay. Okay. But the president's not talking about it. But we know what he did. And they certainly know what he did. And no one's not thinking that one of these days they're going to pull the stunt. They're going to get back at us for what we did. He did it. He ordered it. We fired. We killed some people. We blew up some intelligence areas. But some people died. They want to retaliate. That's what's going to happen. Okay? So, Anyway, I want to burden my day with some unhinged news that we need to be. See, that's why a good president let you know what we're up against. And whoever inherits the office, whether it's myself or someone else, is going to take the act of God to hand this study the issues between the United States and Iran for something erupts. That's on top of everything we're working with right now. And we still don't know how the hurricane season is going to turn out. But understand, I used to watch the Weather Channel pretty strongly. I don't do it as often. But there's some pretty whoppers hanging out there. Coming this way. On top of the corona. And this person, your president, Donald Trump, could care less about anything else. Corona, hurricane. Maybe they're briefing him by Iran, but he's probably pushing it off. And other matters that affect the American people, like health care and insurance and all housing and all that other stuff. Well, I'll leave it to the people that are in charge of that. I'm like, really? All they've been doing is sitting on their butt the whole time. They've never done anything. They still haven't done anything. So you're going to leave it to them. Okay. Like, what's his name? Was given, of course, he's got the position of urban housing. And he ain't done anything about that yet. What has he done to help homelessness, which is a problem in every state? Okay, I'm moving on. I'm done. I don't want to bore you. I'm pretty much, because I'll get caught up in different things that the president should have been looking into or be paying close attention to or working with, instead of out golfing somewhere over the weekend and saying, keeping to his promise that he would work hard and when he gets elected and working hard in the office and he would remain in the White House doing what he's supposed to do, and he lied on every term anyway, so because he lied about that. So, okay. But he wanted everybody to believe that he took care of some business time while he was out knocking a ball around. Yo, tell it somebody don't know no better. Okay. Yeah, and I ain't one of them. So, I'm done, guys. I'm done. Anyways, just thought I'd put that out there this morning. I will be back later today. Later in the afternoon or early evening today. And we'll keep you updated and we'll keep on plugging along here. And like I said, you will see my happy little face until it gets into public space where you see me in person. So, again, if you know prayer, keep praying not only for me and your president and the government, Pray for yourselves, pray for your families. Pray for the United States as a whole, American people. Because we all need prayer and we need God. My name is George A. Wilson. I am your President of the United States in 2020. We'll take the seat in 2021. Vote for me when you go into the voters booth. Again, I should be already on the ballot as an independent whatever that is, independent section. If I'm there, just vote for me. If I'm not, you're going to have to write me in. So you have to connect the lines, write me in, then vote for me. So, again, vote for me for your next president of the United States. One, remember, belief, confidence, and trust. And I have 2 words left. We will. That's the only thing. Now, you could add anything else behind that, we will. But we will in 2021. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the American people.